All right, welcome everyone to another deep dive. And today we're looking ahead, way ahead. We're talking about the e-commerce trends that are going to be huge by the year 2025. So get ready. Some of this stuff might sound like it's straight out of science fiction, but the crazy thing is, it's a lot closer than we think.
Yeah, it really is amazing how quickly things are changing. And it's not just small changes either. We're talking about a complete shift, like a whole new way of buying things online.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to all this new tech that's coming out, but also how we're changing as shoppers, and then you've got all the bigger things happening in the world, like globalization and stuff. It's all kind of coming together.
Okay, so let's dive right in. The first trend is all about AI, artificial intelligence. But we're not talking about just those basic recommendations like you might also like this or that.
Yeah.
It's way more advanced than that, like AI taking over the whole shopping journey and making it totally personalized for each shopper.
I think everyone's going to love this. Imagine you've got this AI personal shopper working for you 24/7 in the background, doing its thing. It knows your style, what sizes you wear, how much you're willing to spend, even your mood, and it uses all that to pick out stuff just for you. So you don't have to browse through endless pages of products. The right things just appear.
Yeah, and I remember reading in the Devhooks article, they're the ones who laid out these 7 trends, these AI agents. They might even be able to buy stuff for us, like fully complete purchases.
Mhm.
Like you just tell it, I need new shoes, set some preferences, and boom, done. Makes you wonder if we'll even need to lift a finger to shop online in the future.
Right. I know. It's incredible. And that's really the core of this whole trend. On one hand, it's super convenient. Like, who wouldn't want an AI stylist picking out the perfect outfits? But then there's the other side. Like, are we ready to give up that much control?
It is a good question. And speaking of convenience, that kind of leads us to the next big thing. Automation and delivery and logistics. I mean, these days, everyone wants their stuff delivered like yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like by 2025, that might actually become the norm.
Yeah. And the article really highlighted these giant automated warehouses. Picture these massive fulfillment centers with robots zipping around, picking and packing orders super fast. No humans, just pure robot efficiency.
Exactly. And don't forget drones.
Eh,
Like opening your door and there's a drone with that book you ordered minutes ago, and then there's self-driving delivery vehicles driving around, dropping off packages.
I know, right? And the thing is, this level of automation could totally change how cities are designed. Think about it. Smoother traffic flow, less congestion, way faster deliveries, all because robots are taking care of the logistics. I mean, it really makes you rethink how we plan our cities.
Absolutely. It's a whole new ballgame. Okay, this next trend is already starting to happen, and I bet a lot of you have already seen it. The rise of social commerce. You're scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and bam, there's an ad for something you actually like. Click, buy, done.
It's true, it's happening already. Social media, it's not just for connecting anymore, it's becoming a shopping mall in itself. The lines are getting blurry between what's a friend's post and what's an ad. And for brands, that's huge. They need to be thinking visually, telling stories. They got to connect with people on a whole new level.
Yeah, it's all about capturing someone's attention, making them want to buy something right then and there.
Exactly, exactly. And the article really pointed out how important influencer marketing is becoming. When you see your favorite influencer using a product, it's like instant credibility. It's not just a product anymore, it's like a lifestyle.
It's aspirational. But it also makes you think, like, will we be even more impulsive with our shopping? Will we just be bombarded with ads everywhere we look? Definitely something to think about.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. There's another trend that's becoming a big deal, especially for younger shoppers.
Mhm.
Sustainability. Yeah. It's not just a nice to have anymore, it's like a requirement.
Definitely. People are demanding that companies take responsibility for how they impact the planet. They want to know that the products they're buying are ethical, sustainable, the whole thing.
Absolutely, the whole package.
Mhm.
And the article talked about things like eco-friendly packaging, carbon neutral shipping, and most importantly, transparency in the whole supply chain. Like, where did this stuff even come from?
Exactly. People want to know. And it's not enough for companies to just say they're sustainable. They have to prove it.
Right. Actions speak louder than words. Right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And this is where transparency is so important. Like, imagine being able to track your product's journey from the raw materials to the factory, all the way to your doorstep.
That would be amazing.
It would. And it gives you, the shopper, the power to make good choices, to support brands that are actually doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's about building trust, you know.
Exactly, exactly.
And this trend, it's not going away anytime soon, which, honestly, I'm glad about. All right, on to the next trend, and this one might seem kind of obvious. Mobile commerce dominance, meaning everyone's shopping on their phones. But there's more to it than you might think.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much live on our phones these days, and that's not going to change. And e-commerce businesses, they got to be ready for a world where most of their sales come from mobile.
It makes sense. I mean, we use our phones for banking, social media, reading news. So why not shopping?
Exactly, exactly. But the challenge is to make the experience on a phone really good, not just functional, but enjoyable. Like imagine trying to browse a website on a tiny screen. It can be frustrating. And frustration leads to people leaving, not buying.
Yeah, it's got to be smooth and easy. The article specifically talked about seamless payments, like using digital wallets or fingerprint scanners. No more typing in your credit card info every time.
Exactly, exactly. The goal is to make it so effortless that it feels natural, second nature. That's the real power of mobile commerce.
It makes sense. Okay, moving on to a trend that's pretty mind-blowing. Shoppable live streams. Picture this. You're watching your favorite influencer trying on clothes live in real time. And you can buy those exact items instantly. Right there in the stream, you don't even have to leave.
Oh, I love this one. This one is so cool. It's like a modern take on those old shopping channels, but way more interactive. It taps into that feeling of wanting things instantly and also our fascination with live video. It's not just about buying, it's like being part of an experience.
Yeah, and the article talked about how these events can be super interactive. Like you can ask the influencer questions, get styling tips, chat with other viewers. It's a whole thing.
It's like a virtual shopping party.
Exactly, exactly.
It's brilliant.
It really is. Okay, last but not least, for this part at least, we got to talk about flexibility, specifically in payment options.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, sometimes you got to spread out the cost of a big purchase, especially with everything getting more expensive these days.
Right, right. And that's where buy now, pay later comes in, or BNPL for short. This has exploded recently, and by 2025, it's going to be even bigger. It basically lets you split your payments into smaller chunks, often without interest.
Which is huge. And it's really popular with younger shoppers who maybe don't have credit cards yet or are just starting to build their credit.
Exactly, exactly. It's a great way to make bigger purchases more doable, but you got to be careful, you know? It's easy to overspend if you're not paying attention.
Absolutely. Budgeting is key. Being smart with your money, that's always important.
Couldn't agree more. Well, that wraps up part one of our deep dive into the future of e-commerce. We've covered a lot, from AI-powered shopping to sustainable practices and everything in between.
It's a lot to take in. So stay tuned for part two, where we'll dig even deeper into these trends and talk about what they mean for shoppers, businesses, and the world as a whole. And we're back for part two of our e-commerce deep dive, still looking ahead to 2025. You know, last time we left off talking about those flexible payment options, but honestly, there's so much more to unpack with all these trends.
Yeah, it really is amazing how fast this whole world is changing. We talk about AI changing how we shop, robots handling deliveries, and how social media is turning into a shopping mall.
Oh yeah, and we can't forget sustainability becoming like a must-have. Yeah. And everyone shopping on their phones, mobile first, all that. But before we move on, I wanted to go back to something you mentioned about AI. All that personalization, it sounds great, but it also kind of makes you think about the downsides.
Right, exactly. It's easy to get excited about having this AI stylist who knows everything about you. But we got to remember, all that convenience comes at a price, you know? All these AI systems, they need a ton of data about us, our habits, what we like, everything. And that brings up some serious questions about privacy, right?
For sure, for sure. It's like giving these companies access to our whole lives. They know what we buy, what we search for. It can be a bit creepy.
Yeah, it can. It can. And there's always that risk that they could use our data in ways we didn't agree to. It's something we really need to pay attention to as shoppers. We got to demand more transparency from these companies, you know?
Totally agree. We need to know exactly how our data is being used, and we should have control over our privacy settings, all that stuff. It's like a trade-off, convenience versus control.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a conversation we need to be having as a society.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Speaking of trade-offs, we should also talk about what all this automation means for jobs. We were talking about robots taking over warehouses and deliveries, but what about the people who used to do those jobs?
Yeah, that's a really good point. While automation can make things faster and more efficient, it could also mean people losing their jobs. We got to figure out how to prepare for those changes in the job market, and make sure people have the skills they need to succeed in this new world.
Exactly, exactly. It's not just about training people for new jobs, it's also about creating new opportunities. Maybe we'll see more jobs that require human skills, things robots can't do, like creativity, problem solving, emotional intelligence, all that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe automation will push us to be even more human in our work, focusing on the things that make us unique.
I like that. I like that. Now, going back to social commerce for a sec, we talked about how powerful it can be. But I'm curious, have you ever bought something on social media just because, you got caught up in the moment?
Oh, totally. I've definitely been tempted a few times, especially when you see something you like while scrolling through your feed.
Right. It's so easy. The way they blend ads with regular posts, it's super effective. It's almost like you're being subconsciously influenced to buy something you didn't even know you wanted.
Yeah, it's kind of scary how good they are at it.
Yeah.
I think we all need to be more mindful of our spending habits and not let social media totally control what we buy. We got to be skeptical, ask ourselves, do I really need this? Before we click buy now.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. It's all about finding that balance, enjoying the convenience of social commerce, but also staying in control. Now, let's talk about something that's really important to me, sustainability.
Absolutely. This is a trend that's just going to get bigger and bigger. Customers are demanding it. They want companies to take responsibility for how they affect the environment.
Right. And it's not enough for companies to just talk about sustainability anymore. They have to actually do something about it, take real action. Consumers can see right through empty promises these days.
They can. They can. They want to see companies investing in eco-friendly packaging, reducing their carbon footprint, and making sure their products are sourced ethically.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And they're willing to support brands that share their values. Sustainability is becoming a major selling point for a lot of people.
It's not just the right thing to do, it's also good for business.
Yeah,
People trust companies that are responsible and ethical.
absolutely. Absolutely. This is a trend that's going to change the whole e-commerce landscape.
Yeah.
Companies that don't get on board are going to be left behind.
No doubt about it.
Okay.
Okay, shifting gears again, let's talk about mobile commerce dominance. This is already happening, but by 2025, it's going to be even more extreme.
Yeah, smartphones are everywhere and they're getting more powerful all the time. They're how most people access the internet these days, and that includes shopping online. So e-commerce businesses, they have to make mobile their top priority.
Totally. It's not enough to just have a website that works okay on a phone. It's got to be designed specifically for mobile with easy navigation, fast loading times, and a smooth checkout.
Exactly, exactly. Think about the user experience. People are using their phones on the go. They don't have a lot of patience. If your website is slow or confusing, they're going to leave and go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's all about making it easy and enjoyable for the shopper. Mobile is the future, no question about it.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Now, let's go back to those shoppable live streams for a minute. This is where online shopping and entertainment really come together.
Oh yeah, this one is so cool. Watching your favorite influencer show off products, and you can buy them right there in the stream.
It's amazing. It's a really powerful way for brands to connect with their audience and create that sense of excitement and urgency around shopping.
Totally. It's like a virtual shopping party. You can hang out with your friends, get inspired, and buy stuff all at the same time.
Exactly, exactly. And it's not just for fashion and beauty either. Imagine watching a chef cook a meal and being able to buy all the ingredients instantly.
Oh, or watching a gamer play a new game and being able to buy the game and all the accessories right there.
Yeah, right. The possibilities are endless. Shoppable live streams are going to change everything about how we shop.
I believe it. Okay, and to wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's talk a little more about flexible payment options. We already talked about buy now, pay later, but there's other stuff happening too.
Yeah, there's a lot of innovation in this space. We're seeing cryptocurrency being used for online shopping and more subscription services for everything, from groceries to clothes.
It's all about giving shoppers more choices and control over how they spend their money.
Exactly, exactly. But with all these options, it's more important than ever to be financially literate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People need to understand how these services work and make smart decisions about their money.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. That's where education and awareness come in. We got to help people navigate this new world of e-commerce and make the best choices for themselves.
That's a great point. It's not just about being excited about new technology, it's also about being informed and responsible. And that's something we'll dive deeper into in the final part of our discussion. All right, welcome back, everyone. Final part of our e-commerce deep dive. Still focused on 2025 and what's coming.
I gotta say, we've covered a lot of ground. AI shopping assistants, robots delivering packages, sustainability, the whole nine yards.
It is a lot to take in, I know. That's why we wanted to really break it down and have this conversation. It's not just about knowing what trends are coming, it's about really understanding what it all means.
Mm.
For us as shoppers, for businesses, for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. And, one thing that's been on my mind is that whole hyper-personalization thing. On one hand, it's super cool, but on the other hand, kind of freaky.
Right. Totally agree. Like, imagine AI curating every detail of our shopping experiences. That's both amazing and kind of unsettling.
Yeah, like no more searching for hours. The perfect thing just pops up, knows exactly what you want. Right, like having your own personal stylist always there. But it also makes you think, will we lose that fun of discovering things on our own, that excitement of finding something unexpected?
That's a great point. And I guess it depends on the person, right? Some people will love the convenience. Others might miss that human touch, that element of surprise.
Yeah, exactly. And another big theme we've been talking about is speed and convenience. Seems like everyone wants everything delivered instantly these days.
Oh, I'm totally guilty of that. We're so used to instant gratification with everything else. Why not shopping, too?
Right, makes sense. And that's where all this automation comes in, the drones, robots, self-driving cars. They're going to completely change how deliveries work, make it faster and more efficient than ever.
I can't even imagine getting a package minutes after ordering it.
It's coming.
Yeah,
But of course, like we talked about before, we got to think about the jobs. All this automation could mean people losing their jobs, especially in delivery and logistics.
right, for sure. It's a tough situation. We got to find ways to create new opportunities, help people adapt.
Absolutely. We can't leave anyone behind.
Now, let's talk about sustainability again. It's come up a lot in our conversation, and for good reason.
It's a huge deal. And it's only going to get bigger. Shoppers are demanding it. They want to support brands that share their values. Sustainability isn't just a nice bonus anymore. It's an expectation.
And companies are realizing that,
Right.
right? They can't just talk about it. They got to actually do something.
Exactly. Actions speak louder than words. Consumers are smart. They can tell when a company is just trying to greenwash.
Totally. They want to see real changes like eco-friendly packaging, reduced carbon footprint, ethical sourcing, all that.
Right. And they want transparency. They want to know where their products are coming from, how they're made, the whole story.
It's about accountability, making sure companies are doing the right thing.
Absolutely. And it's pushing the whole industry in a better direction, which is great.
For sure. Okay, and speaking of big changes, we got to talk about mobile shopping. It's already huge, but by 2025, it's going to be even crazier.
Yeah, smartphones are basically an extension of ourselves these days. It's how most people connect to the internet, and that means it's how they shop too. E-commerce companies, they got to adapt, make mobile their top priority.
Totally agree. It's not enough to just have a website that sort of works on a phone. It's got to be designed specifically for mobile from the ground up, easy to use, fast loading times, smooth checkout, all that.
Exactly, exactly. Think about it from the shopper's perspective. They're using their phone on the go. They don't have time to waste. If it's not a good experience, they'll just go somewhere else.
Makes sense. Got to keep things simple and enjoyable. All right, one more time. Let's talk about those shoppable live streams. This is where online shopping gets really exciting.
I know, right? It's such a cool idea. Watching your favorite influencers, seeing the products in action, and being able to buy them right there.
It's like the future of shopping and entertainment all rolled into one.
Totally. It's a really smart way for brands to connect with their audience, create that sense of immediacy, that gotta have it now feeling.
And it's so interactive. You can ask questions, chat with other viewers. It's like a virtual shopping party.
Exactly, exactly. And it could work for so many different types of products, not just fashion and beauty.
Right, like imagine watching a cooking show and buying all the ingredients right then and there. Or a gaming stream where you can buy the game and all the gear.
I know, the possibilities are endless. This is going to be huge.
It really is. Okay, and finally, let's wrap up our conversation with flexible payment options. Buy nothing. Pay later has been a game changer, but there's even more innovation happening.
Yeah, for sure. We're seeing cryptocurrency being used for online payments and subscription services for everything you can imagine. It's all about giving people more choices and control over their spending.
Which is great, but it also means we need to be even more financially savvy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got to understand how all these different options work, make smart decisions about our money.
Couldn't agree more. So as we look ahead to 2025, it's clear that e-commerce is going to be a whole new world.
It's going to be exciting, fast-paced, and full of surprises.
And it's going to be up to all of us as shoppers and as businesses to navigate these changes responsibly.
To make sure this new world benefits everyone.
Well said. That wraps up our deep dive into the future of e-commerce. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Until next time, everyone, happy shopping.